Hello guys, in the last video, what we have seen how to install the MySQL Workbench. So now I'll show you how to open that. Okay, so start and you will see if at all you've already opened, launched the MySQL Workbench. You will see that here. You can click on that. That is one way of opening it, and I'll show you the other way how to launch that. So there are various ways you can launch your MySQL Workbench. Okay, just go to File and then click on Exit and go to the same place and then MySQL Workbench, right click on that and then see, you will go to More. You will have an option called Open File Location. So here you will see the app, the exe file. Just right click and you can send it to a icon to the desktop, send to desktop shortcut. So click on that, and whenever you wanted to open that, you can directly double click on this. This is one way, or you can pin it to the desktop, your taskbar. That way also you can open. I'm just opening this MySQL Workbench. See, once you open that, first thing what you have to do is you have to connect to the database. So we have connected to our default database, that is MySQL 80 with the local host 3306 with the user ID root. So we know the password is we have kept it as A capital APR@2023. You can give your own password while you are installing the MySQL server. So now what I'm trying to do is I'll try to click on create connect to database. So this is the default one and click on OK. And then if at all you wanted to double click on this, you can do the same thing. Okay. So it will ask for your password APR@2023. So if you wanted to remember this password, just check this checkbox and click on OK. So now you will be able to see your connection is established. So first you need to understand what is a database. Okay. So a database is a storage place which will have various tables information. So what is the database? What is the relation between database and a table, and how it is linked with our application, and what is the purpose of database? We will see that in a separate video. So today we are just trying to, in this video, what we are trying to understand, how to make use of MySQL Workbench. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to make use of show command databases. So this command will tell you. So how did I come to this place? What you have to do is you have to go to create new SQL query, SQL tab for query. Just go here, show databases. It will colon. So it will fetch the databases which are by default in the system. So click Control Enter. Then it will show you information schema, MySQL performance schema, sys. So this is the system database. So whenever you see any database, the database will consist of tables, views, stored procedures, and functions. So what is this? We will discuss later. Now, if at all you wanted to create your own database, what you have to do is you have to write a command called create database and then the database name. Let us say I'm going to create the database name as employee is my database name. Just click on Control Enter. So once you do that, you will have an option called a refresh button here. Just see here. If you click on refresh, you will see whatever the database you have created that will come, and that also will have the tables, views, stored procedures, and functions. Now what I'm going to do is, if at all you wanted to drop the database, that means you don't want to see the database, just use a command called a drop database, and then write this and then control enter. And then if you press refresh button, the database will not be here. So generally in the organization, you will never have a provision to create. If you are a automation test engineer or a manual tester, you will not have an option to create these databases and tables unless you are going to do the database testing. But if you are a developer, most of the cases you might create the database, you might create the tables, You might have to have the rights to insert, update, anything, whatever you wanted to do, you can do. It's all depends on the nature of work, what you're doing. But if you are a manual tester and you are just trying to access the database just to retrieve the information, sometimes they will not provide you the access for insert and delete also. You'll just retrieve the information. Just to view the information, you will have the right to have just to view or read only access to your databases. Now I'm going back to create the database one more time. Click on that and your database is created. After that, what we will do is we are going to create a new table. So how do you create? Right click on the table, select the table, click on create. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my table name as student is my table name, and then I'm going to have the database columns as, let us say, first column is ID, then assume it is a primary key, not null. Not null. What is primary key and what is not null, we will discuss separately. And I'll write student name, student name, and then varchar is like it should accept maximum of 45 characters. Okay. And then I'll write it as last name. I can write student first name. I'll make it as student first name, last name, and then as many fields as you want, you can add and click on apply. Once you click on apply button, the query will be generated. So create a table. So the table you are going to create under the database of employee, and the table name is student. So where ID is one field, first name is another field, last name is another field, and city is another field, and click on apply. You no need to worry about all these things. The query will get automatically generated. Click on apply, and then the query will get executed, and click on finish button. So now you close this window, and then when you go to the query, if you refresh, you will be able to see the table here. So this is how your table will be created. So if you see the columns also, whatever the columns you have, ID, first name, last name, city, those will come here. And your table will have columns, indexes, foreign keys, and triggers. What are all these things? We are not going to discuss anything now. Similarly, when you have a database also, you will have some default things, that is tables, views, stored procedures, and functions, which we will discuss at a later point of time. So, but for now, what I'm trying to do is I wanted to retrieve this information. What you have to do is, and right click on this table, select rows, limit 10. That means it will show you top 10 rows. Select star from the database name is employee.students. You can do this way, or else you can write a query. So how do you write the query? Click on this, select star from employee, because you have so many databases, right? You need to select the right database, employee dot, that is what your table name, and then control enter. Then your table name will be displayed. Now I wanted to insert certain data. So if you wanted to insert certain data, what you do is insert, you have to use a command called insert into, what is your table name? Your table name is employee.student. What values you are going to insert? You are going to insert ID as 1, and for numbers you no need to put it in quotes. For text you have to put it under quotes. Let's say Vijay, then last name M.Sc, and then city, and once you are done, colon, and then control enter. See here, the row got affected, one row got affected. Now if you run the first query again, you will be able to see that row got reflected in the table. So similarly, if you wanted to add some more records, just copy paste the same thing and then add a couple of other rows. Number 2, Ajay, something like M.C., Nellore, another one, 3, Sanjay, B.C., Vijayawada. Okay, like this. You just add that query and then select that row and click on Control Enter, and that row will get affected. And once you wanted to see the everything, again go back to the select star from the table. All the rows will be displayed here. So this is the way you will be able to create the required databases and then the respective tables. And in the tables, you will have certain columns, and what is primary key, what is foreign key, and how to make use of these tables, and how to fetch the data, and how to retrieve the data. So those things we have to understand, then you will be able to perform your database testing. So basically every tester should understand how to make use of any one of the database. So here we are going to learn MySQL, and in MySQL how a database will be created, and how a table will be created, and how the records will be inserted, how you can drop the table, how you can fetch the data. There are so many other items, DDL, DML, DCL, those things we will be discussing in the subsequent videos. Thank you.